So what is that one important thing you would take up as a non-technical one, especially for the DevOps engineers?
Communication is the key. The second is having a DevOps mindset. So basically you have to be lazy enough to automate yourself out of the job.
So I've also been hearing a lot about cloud formation templates. So how has that been of use to you? So would you say it's been like a friend or maybe an enemy or just like one of those roommates who just doesn't ever wash the dishes?
Definitely a roommate who doesn't clean.
Okay.
Standing on Mindera's Yellow Box India in this episode is Infrastructure Engineer Prashaarth R. Currently working on an Australian project, Prashaarth discusses with Anchana KrishnaKumar his varied career, the rapidly evolving DevOps environment, some of the key challenges he's faced, and more.
So how has your journey been? It's been a lot of transitions, and especially from a government sector, a very secure job, getting into Mindera, into the private sector. So how was this decision? How did you take this decision?
Well, not only I have transitioned in terms of sectors, also in the way I work. So initially I started as an humble desktop engineer. Then slowly I moved on to working with servers where I had to handle almost all of the government customers in New Delhi. Most of them are very critical, like PMO office. There are very funny incidents that happened. I would like to share about them later. Then later I started working with fastest growing websites of India, where it was mostly a private sector. I worked there for around 2 years. I was working as a system admin, and finally I started working for the food safety, as you said. There I had to build everything from the basics. We did not have any DevOps team, so not even an IT team. We were the first IT team. They had outsourced everything initially. Basically, they had a vendor who was taking care of their website. So we were the first IT teams, and that's where I transitioned into a DevOps engineer.
I'm a little curious here. So how has the family taken it? That getting into from the government sector into a private sector. So how did they react to your decision?
Actually, family was very happy. My father was working in government sector for a long time, so he did realize that it doesn't matter you work on government or private. If you're doing your job, it's very it's good. Actually, they were very supportive. So especially in government sector, you have a limited growth. You are tied to organization, and you cannot learn new things very fast. So they're not that agile. So yeah, definitely supportive.
What about this DevOps, getting into DevOps? So was that something very intentional, or are you here into DevOps by accident?
Honestly, it was a forced evolution. So back in the days, I was when I started from system admin to starting to manage everything. So I was managing 70 plus servers. There were dozens of developers working together, and I had to work with cross-functional teams. At one point, I was so frustrated in a meeting. I jokingly said, when they asked how can we improve the reliability, I simply said yeah, you can cut off these guys' hands. I was that much frustrated, and then slowly I learned about DevOps, and I started implementing them, and life was easier for everybody. So basically, I fought myself into DevOps.
So you had also given us an instance about what happened on a particular project you were working at the Tihar jail. So can you just throw some light on that?
Yeah, there are a lot of incidents happened when I was working with hardware. Especially hardware, you cannot do anything. If the part is there, you can replace it. Else you have to you have to just wait. So Bihar jail was such an incident. I had to wait in the jail for the part to arrive. There was one incident where the server went down, and it was a public facing server, and there was a protest going on, and I needed police security just to enter and repair the server. There are many such incidents. There was one time when I was stuck in a data center for 3 days installing around 16 or 17 blade servers. So hardware is only half the story.
Oh, so how many hours did you spend at the jail?
I think half a day.
Okay, so you can say yes, I'm happy to the answer.
Yeah.
So again, this transition from a system admin into a DevOps engineer. So where a lot of learning, or you would say a lot of unlearning had to be, your old habits had to be unlearned.
It's not just about learning and unlearning things. It's also the way you approach your work. It's the change in mindset also. Like when I was an system administrator, I was very eager on doing the stuff faster. Like I would love to automate stuff and do everything by running scripts instead of manually doing it. Uh, as a DevOps engineer, it's not just about the agility. You try to shift everything to the left, or what you say. You enable the developers to do the deployment. You enable the developers to follow a pipeline. You give them the freedom to test and do new things in a controlled environment. The mostly the transition is being from a gatekeeper to more of an enabler.
That's enabler. So in DevOps, people usually enable a lot of things. Absolutely, yeah. And so, tell me one thing. So, when it comes to any non-technical skill in DevOps, so what is that one important thing you would take up as a non-technical one, especially for the DevOps engineers?
Not just for DevOps, any role you take, communication is the key. The second is having a DevOps mindset. So like basically you have to be crazy enough to automate yourself out of the job. So having that mindset, and you need to understand the person next to you, especially if you're working with business people or who are not from the IT perspective. They don't care about the terms like DevOps or the DevOps tool sets. You just have to explain how this will give them a competitive edge and things like that.
Okay. So basically, I think even a lot of patience also is required, right?
Yeah, definitely. Resilience is like one of the key skills. DevOps is not something that can pop up in a single day. You have to, especially if you're working for a very new team or a startup or something, you have to build everything from the ground.
So I have a very tricky question for you. So what's more harder, deployment on a Friday evening or explaining what is DevOps to a family relative in a family function? So which do you think is more harder?
Yeah, definitely explaining to the relatives what you work and how you work. That's definitely harder. Especially when you are IT, they simply use you as a tech support. So you need to explain that you don't work on desktops anymore. You are working with cloud. You are doing DevOps and all those things. So that's definitely harder. The deployment on a Friday, it doesn't matter. Like when we have the pipeline, we can rely on it. Even if it fails, we can go back and check it on Monday. If my pipeline passes, I can go ahead with the deployment.
So did you really do that? Did you really go and explain to some family member what is DevOps all about, and did they really understand?
No, not really DevOps, but yeah, as I said, like you have to explain them. You're not an IT support. Your role is much different than an IT support.
Absolutely. That's interesting. So, Prashant, what has been your toughest on-call incidents, and what does it teach you about resilience?
Well, toughest on-call incidents are for me mostly they are related to all the legacy systems. They have been working for ages and we don't usually get any alert or anything, and improving them is not under the scope, or just it doesn't has add any business value. They are critical, but any improvement on them does not add any business value. All of a sudden we get an alert, and when we try to fix them, something else pop up and something else pops up, and we have to what you say, clear all the tech debts that we have accumulated over the ages in a single night or something like that. So it's not just about what I say, keeping up all night. It's about going step by step. Take a step and then wait for the results, and then go to the other steps. So that's when you need a lot of patience to take care of these issues. We need to plan ahead.
A lot of coffee as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Have you been in a situation where you have ops and the developers going on two different sides, and then you're there as a DevOps engineer trying to settle things out? So, have you ever handled situations like this?
Yeah, especially in my earlier phases. Nowadays, like people are very collaborative, people understand each other, and we have a common pipeline which we work on or a common repo which we work together. The initial phases, yes, we did have some clashes. Developers, they want to focus on push it the change as fast as we can, and ops people are like Newton's third law: anything in motion should not be changed. So there are certain cases. So once we bring them in a single room, explain each other's issues and work together, we can resolve them.
So DevOps has really made this tug of war much more easier.
Yeah, definitely.
So you've been the sole Mindera engineer working on this Australian project. It must have been very exciting as well as you must be having your own challenges. So how do you overcome if you face any challenges, and who's your go-to person usually?
To start with, I love working with this client. Like they are Australian based, and I have start early, and I can leave early. So it's really good. There are few challenges, but they are not because I'm the sole person. It's actually new to me working in a foreign overseas, and it's also new to me in working in a remote environment. So basically, how we communicate differs here than my previous organization. So that was a bit challenging to learn in the initial phase. By the way, we have a great team at the client, and there are always people to support you. Even in Mindera, even at the client side, there are people like I can always reach out to DevOps engineers in Mindera. We have tons of supporting documents. We have AI tools at our disposal, so that there is no challenge as such in terms of technical. But yeah, we do miss the occasional office gossips.
Tell me, if you had your CI/CD pipeline had a theme song, what would it be?
Talai's Survivor song.
That's
Yes.
Ajit's song.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's basically about survival.
Yeah, day by day, step by step. So
Uh-huh.
it perfectly describes my pipeline. The pipeline
Okay.
survives the deployment,
That's good.
survives the change.
But on survival, right? Nice. So I really need an honest answer right now. So how many times have you accidentally fixed a bug by just restarting the server?
Well, Archana, as like Master always said, there are no accidents. Restarting is a proven solution, but you need to understand the situation. One time, a client, and especially in terms of hardware, one time a client restarted and the server never came up.
Oh my.
So in DevOps, we don't need to restart the server at all. Like when we can destroy and recreate it on daily basis, why restart it? It's way more effective.
Prashant, we've been hearing a lot about AI ops, and how do you think AI and automation is going to take over, and what is it in store for a DevOps engineer in the next few years?
Well, AI ops specifically will greatly reduce the noise, especially when we are starting out with monitoring our new system. We tend to create alerts for everything. We would like to have a much greater visibility. So in those cases, especially AI ops will help us a lot. It will reduce the noise instead of getting like thousands of alerts. We will be getting very relevant alerts. Further, I could see there are a lot of improvements we can do. We can create self-healing systems, like automated actions for alerts. It will actually, I believe, it will help us to focus, more on the observability, more on the engineering side, and more on the governance side, rather than writing code and monitoring dashboards. Yeah.
That's going to be very helpful for the DevOps people,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Not just DevOps people, a lot of overall.
Overall,
Yeah.
that's going to be interesting. Okay. So, if you were to give an emoji to your last assignment, and you have completed something, so what will be the emoji you would give?
Probably the rocket launch with sparkles.
Oh my gosh, okay. Hope all your projects are in the same mode. Huh?
There are like as you say in DevOps, there are like other emojis also coming in, and it's okay. Like we know like if something goes wrong, our pipeline will proceed.
That's nice. So tell me, we've been seeing a lot of projects adopting DevOps. So is there something where you feel that organizations or project leads need to understand much more before adopting DevOps into their projects?
Nowadays, there's like much more visibility on DevOps, and every organization is already having some sort of DevOps with them, and organizations or team lead are like doing a fantastic job adopting them. Especially when I started, it wasn't like that. It was very difficult. So like when I started, people used to do development in their own laptop. They didn't even have a common Git repository or anything like that, and they used to push the code to production directly through FTP. So you need to be aware of your current environment. It's not like just like adding new tools or adding new DevOps people in the organization. You need to understand the current organization and how you can change the mindset of the people. Like instead of doing this is better. We might have some initial hiccups, but once things are set up, everybody will be happy. Not just the DevOps person or Ops person or Dev person. It will have a profound impact on the entire organization.
So basically understanding the problem and then the flow is very important, you were saying.
Yeah, not just the problem and the flow, the mindset of enabling people instead of being a gatekeeper, or instead of limiting people's access and things like that. The basic mindset is shift left, like as you say,
Shift left technology is something.
Yeah, like test everything in the feature branch itself. If you want to do some security, what do you say? Check instead of doing it in final stage, do it in the initial stage itself. Static code analysis, checking about the patches, which is the latest version, things like that. Even you can add load tests. Try to, like we have in our current scenario, we have even domain names for all the improvements.
Say, okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. Okay, so Prashaarth, you have completed a couple of AWS certifications, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how has that been of help to you? Has that really been helpful towards your success, or is it something where it's just boosted your confidence in doing these certification programs?
Certification really helps. So it basically gives you a cloud native mentality, and you are able to think in terms like how you can organize your application in cloud. There are like not just in terms of servers or in terms of containers. You can use serverless models. And also it gives you a lot of common terms which you can talk to developers, and they can go and learn that directly.
See, that's interesting. So we've been hearing a lot of things about Dockers and Docker containers. Now, when we hear about containers, we think about the ship containers. So if Docker containers were really there and you had to add something in those containers, so what would it be?
Definitely coffee, some automation scripts, and some patches for upcoming issues. We have to be prepared. Like some of you says, if something can go wrong, it will go wrong.
So I think everyone will have their own. I think I would put loads and loads of tea in it. Yeah.
Container, it's not about stuffing everything in one box. It also gives you freedom to keep multiple containers. You can separate the things.
Yes, compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
It basically, okay, that's nice. So I've also been hearing a lot about cloud formation templates. So how has that been of use to you? So would you say it's been like a friend or maybe an enemy, or just like one of those roommates who just doesn't ever wash the dishes?
Definitely a roommate who doesn't clean stuff.
Oh, okay.
Cloud formation templates can be like long and messy sometimes. Like your roommate has a good relationship with your landlord, so you pair with him.
Okay.
There are like a lot of improvements. You can modularize them, or we can totally look for new tools out there.
That's interesting. Okay, so you know what to do with your roommate then.
Yeah,
Okay.
Start
Looking out for a new one, right? Okay. So, Prashaarth, you've been mentoring a lot of interns and also have given them a lot of training about what DevOps is all about. Two of the interns have actually opted to take on DevOps in their career. Any particular advice you would want to give them?
Yeah, definitely. It can be really overwhelming for any intern or any fresher to jump into DevOps. Like when I started, I already had some background about server hardware and Linux. When you are starting fresh, it's definitely overwhelming. So, apart from learning the concepts of DevOps, I would advise them to stick with one tool at a time. Like for example, if they are learning Docker, try to master it as much as possible before jumping into another tool. Similarly, if they are learning some CI/CD tool, stick with that tool for a little bit longer till they understand everything about it. So mostly the jumping from one tool from another tool is not that tough, but understanding it takes time. So especially when you don't have any previous background in any other IT related activities. Uh, and apart from that, like there are like a lot of support now. Like we have AI tools and everything, sort of focusing on writing scripts, which we like when we were into DevOps we did. They can focus more on understanding the observability, concepts of observability, how we can add more visibility of how the systems are running, how to build dashboards, and those things we can focus on.
So what will be the right pathway, when someone, a fresher would want to get into DevOps? What will be the first, the second and the third skill they would have to acquire?
There is no fixed path, but I would say if they don't have any OS background, then they have to start from Linux. Once they have a little bit understanding of Linux, they can learn containers. So you can totally skip the virtualization and OS installation, all those stuff. Like those are almost obsolete. So you can jump into containers. And then learn any cloud. So any one cloud certification, just go directly for the certification. Like once you have the certification, you know about a lot of resources. You know about database, how to make it highly available. Like what are the serverless factors? You understand the cloud native architecture. These things are basic. So these won't directly land you into a DevOps job, but these are the basics. So after that, you can start learning the concepts of DevOps. You can focus on observability tools. What are there? You can also side by side also work on pipelines, creating take any one CI/CD tools, how they work. This I believe should be the right path.
Yes, that's very interesting. Quite a good pathway and advice to the youngsters. So coming back to Mindera culture. So how has it been here in Mindera for the last 4 years? How do you think the culture in this organization has evolved you from where you were compared to where you were working in the other organizations?
Mindera being a deal organization, it just perfectly aligns with DevOps concepts. Giving freedom and ability to own your work, and you can approach or reach out to anybody directly. It's a great culture. It's quite shocking for me too. When I joined, I did not believe anything.
Especially coming from the government sector into a private, you would have thought.
I did not believe in any word that the HR explained about the organization. I thought it's just concept, it cannot exist. But when you come and work, it's possible.
Especially when we are all about flat hierarchy, and we really mean it. It's just not talking about it. Yes, that's something good. So that's really interesting, Prashaarth, and thank you so much for your time. You've really given us so much of input in the last couple of few minutes. So we really know that DevOps is just not about deployments or pipelines. It's more about people, it's about problem solving, and it's about growth. So thank you so much, and wishing you all the very best for all your adventures ahead. And thank you so much. And so this was Prashaarth for you in his DevOps journey. And this was very, very interesting. Hope you really like this podcast. So as I told you, every month we would be bringing in different people to showcase. So next month, until I catch up with you next month, take care and bye-bye. Cheers.